many people are used to thinking of the autonomic nervous system as sympathetic and parasympathetic, just it's either fight or flight, stress reaction, or rest and digest, relaxation. How does Stephen Porges's view and polyvagal theory differ from that? And I know you just kind of, you're mentioning specific aspects of this, but if you were to summarize succinctly, how does the polyvagal theory differ from just it's rest or digest versus fight or flight?
Because of the poly part of the polyvagal is many or several. So the branch has several connections. And with that architecture plan, not only does it connect into certain parts that allow for that volitional control, it has the ability to modulate and read. The branches can come in and out of strength, and the one can be brought in to soothe the other one. And specifically, when we get into the specific parts of the branch, it becomes very clear, your question. So, for example, understanding the branches of the nerve allows an accelerated understanding that we are neurologically wired to be able to move out of energy draining states and into restorative body function. How do we do this? So first, let's look at a branch of the vagus nerve, the ventral vagal. Now, I love this one. This is the safety zone. It's safety by inhibiting the heart rate, and it supports calmness. The ventral vagal softens an immobilizing response of some other branches. So it's looking at softening the branches, the sympathetic branch of the vagus nerve that we know well when we are in danger or perceive that we are in danger. The body starts to recruit resources so it can mobilize, so it can fight against the danger. That's an evolutionary response. So it's very strong and it can come over us. But the difference is that polyvagal is this ventral vagal can come in and put the brakes and start soothing that sympathetic response. That ventral vagal, you can choose to get into that state by slowing your heart rate down with activities that do that, like yoga and singing, all of these, and snuggling with someone, a co-regulator, someone who you can pair with on a neurological level to help you feel better and soothing to you. So it's quite fascinating because that dorsal vagal branch, right? The dorsal vagal branch that goes to mainly the organs below the diaphragm, that's invoked when there is a threat to life. Very, very serious, very important aspect of the vagus nerve, the immobilization. It's an evolutionary defense. And Ari, it's been amazing servicing some of the adults that have found their way to us from that original podcast. And many of them are women, and many of them are finding their way to us to see if we could help them heal their trauma, and specific sexual trauma. And I bring it up here with the dorsal vagal branch because it is such an amazing process that when you understand the science behind what's happening to you physiologically, when your life is being threatened, you are under threat, the immobilization factor can be pulled in and you freeze. It's that feeling where you go to scream, but you can't. And your mind is racing and you're yelling in your mind and you want to fight back, but you can't move your arms. So this is such an important piece, really, because for our friends who are recovering, this really helps them understand why they were a victim and did not contribute to the things that happened to them because they couldn't fight back. After the situation is over, some of them start to process, gosh, why didn't I yell? Why didn't I fight? Well, when the vagus nerve immobilized you, you weren't able to. That was your neurological system coming in to save you. Yeah. And this really changes the healing process because our friends can let go of feeling like they contributed to their state in some way. So significant as you learn about these pieces and how that impacts the whole human condition.
No,
and when...
add one thing on this. I always have an image in my head, every time we talk about this immobilization response, the dorsal vagal response, every time we sometimes get like lizards that find their way into our home. And so I have to pick them up and move them back outside. And oftentimes when I pick up a lizard, I'm initially chasing it, right? And it's running away and getting away from me. And then eventually, after a while, I'll catch it. And as I'm initially, sort of catching it, it'll start struggling and, maybe try to see if it can wiggle its head around to bite me or something like that. And then at a certain point, once I've really caught it and it feels caught by me, it just freezes and it doesn't move. It's immobilized. It stops fighting. And that's just sort of the image I have in my mind of like how I visualize this response. But I also see it as profoundly related to some of these chronic fatigue states that, especially in people with past trauma, that their brain and their nervous system just gets wired into this sort of more numbness, more like immobilization, apathy, lack of energy, vitality. As a, I'm sure it's as a protective response to sort of minimize the stressors of, whatever stressors they might encounter. But you correct me if I'm wrong there in my interpretation of things, but that's just how I kind of visualize things.
And yes, thank you so much for bringing the lizard analogy in, because frequently in the journals you may read about the lizard brain, that type of response. So it's a perfect layering in, and it really does give our listeners an idea of how primitive, how evolutionary that immobilization piece is, and how once you can recognize it, you can blow air and space in between these emotions and feelings, and we can help you pull the vagus in there, and we can start to get some more control over our physiological responses.
Hey, this is Ari, and if you enjoyed this little clip, I highly recommend checking out the full-length podcast by clicking the link down below this video in the description. Check it out. You're going to learn a ton more valuable information. Also, as always, I want to mention at the Energy Blueprint, we offer a ton of solutions to help you increase your energy. And as a side effect, help you prevent disease, dramatically improve your brain function, your mood, combating anxiety and depression, increasing your resilience to stress, and increasing your longevity. All nice bonuses to strategies designed to massively increase your mitochondrial function and your energy levels. And we've got a whole suite of products, online info products that guide you on strategies to optimize your lifestyle and nutrition habits. We've got an Eat for Energy course. We've got a brain course. We've got an advanced fat loss strategies course. We've got a breathing for energy course, which I highly, highly recommend. People just absolutely rave about that one in particular. And we've got a whole suite of supplements, mitochondrial formula, a brain formula, energy essentials and superfoods, which is our comprehensive multivitamin and multimineral and superfoods formula. So thank you for watching this. Again, full length link to the full length podcast is down below. And check out theenergyblueprint.com for our whole suite of products that can help you dramatically transform your energy levels.